Hello all you Nikon camera users and those who are Nikon curious. Occasionally, I like to make videos for those that are undecided about whether they should sell or trade their old Nikon Z6 camera or any other digital camera brand for a shiny new Nikon Z6III. There are many myths about the Nikon Z6III that have been spread that are half-truths and camera bots by users of Canon, Sony, and other brands. It's just natural. Everyone wants to stay on top. In today's video, I will put some of those online myths to rest. So watch the entire video to dispel your myths about the Nikon Z6III. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vaughn. I want to tell you up front, I'm a longtime Nikon user. I previously had the Nikon Z6II, so I want you to know that all the opinions in this video are based on facts and not from a Nikon fanboy. Today, I hope to dispel myths or disinformation about Nikon Z cameras. I want to start this video with the number one myth. The Z6III is no major improvement over the Z6II. Some believe the Z6III isn't much different than the Z6II. In reality, the Z6III features offer a significant upgrade like a partially stacked sensor, a more advanced autofocus system, a better low light performance, and enhanced video capabilities, making it a substantial improvement over the Z6II. Let's look at the stats for both cameras. As you can see, the Nikon Z6III has a 24 megapixel partially stacked CMOS sensor. It has 14 frames per second with mechanical shutter, 20 frames per second with electronic shutter, up to 1,000 RAW files. It has up to 60 frames per second JPEG in full resolution and 120 frames in APS-C crop. In-body stabilization is rated at 8 stops. You have a 5.7 million dot EVF. You have a fully articulating screen. Voila. I like that. 2.1 million dots rear screen. Like that. And now for video, it has 6K 60p in RAW video, 6K 30p ProRes RAW, and 5.4K 60p in H 2.65 video. And it has pre-burst capture, pixel shift, high res mode. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I owned the Nikon Z6II for many years, and I made a few videos. Go to the link above. Just like you, I have reservations anytime a new camera model is introduced. I wondered how much more the Nikon Z6III could help me with the functionality over a Z6 or a Z6II. I'm like you, I watch all those promotional videos from Nikon and YouTubers and think that's all hype. You want to know how I squashed all those myths about the Nikon Z6III? I went to one of those mini release events Nikon had when the camera first was introduced. I wanted to get a hands-on experience with a pre-production model. When I got my hands on one, it won me over with the autofocus alone. I have a Nikon Z9, and after using its autofocus, I figured if the Nikon Z6III had the XP7 processor, that it had to be at least a step below the Z9 and the Z8, and slightly better than the Nikon ZF. Guess what? We got a winner chicken dinner. After all, the AF is 20% faster than the Nikon Z6II. So let's fast forward. I purchased the Nikon Z6III. Its autofocus with subject detection with wide area small is very reliable. It's a huge improvement from the Nikon Z6II, which I had to use single point autofocus most of the time because that was the most reliable autofocus mode. Without the improvement in the autofocus, the video capabilities of this camera would make it definitely a camera with less than professional results. So if you're still undecided, then remember this third generation camera has a partially stacked sensor. And that makes it a good camera alone because there's not any cameras right now that have a partially stacked sensor. That means you get a faster readout speeds from the sensor. That's more bang for the buck. While you're thinking about that Nikon Z6III, please subscribe to the channel. The channel helps Nikon enthusiasts make informed decisions. I want to move on to the next myth. Myth number 2, limited lens compatibility. There's a belief that the Nikon Z6III is only compatible with a limited range of lenses. In reality, the Nikon Z6III can be used by all Nikon Z mount lenses with the F to Z adapter. Most F mount lenses can be used with full functionality. Don't forget about the lenses from third-party lens manufacturers like Viltrox, Sigma, and Tamron. Now I want to pump the brakes on this myth. This myth comes with a warning label. Your results may vary, and I say that very soundly. I had an older Sigma DSLR lens, a 2040-70 f2.8 that I used with a Nikon F to Z adapter. It worked marginally with the slower sensor of the Nikon Z6II. I could use it for event photography, but once I upgraded to the Nikon Z6III, the lens had trouble focusing on subjects in lower light situations. And the focus breathing was horrendous in video with the Nikon Z6III. So without haste, I sold that old DSLR lens and bought the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 lens for the Nikon Z, and I bought it from Mac Camera. I'm not sponsored by them, but I thought I would give them a shout out for the excellent shape of my used 28-75mm 2.8 Nikon Z lens. They have fast delivery from Japan, and I just couldn't resist mentioning Mac Camera for this video. By the way, please subscribe so that you can get real-world recommendations from a real Nikon user. Now, another concern most users of these smaller hybrid cameras have is the battery life. Myth number 3, poor battery life. Some users assume that mirrorless cameras, including the Nikon Z6III, have poor battery life. In reality, while battery life can be shorter than some DSLR cameras, the Nikon Z6III offers decent battery performance, especially with energy-saving modes and USB-C charging. If you need longer battery life, then I would suggest the Nikon MP M14 grip or extra batteries. Here are some quick specs of battery life. The Nikon Z6III camera battery life is rated as follows. With the rear LCD, you'll get 390 shots per charge in standard mode with the viewfinder, 360 shots per charge in standard mode with the monitor mode, approximately 100 minutes with either viewfinder or monitor selected. The Z6III uses the same EN-EL15C battery as its predecessor, the Nikon Z6II. Lithium-ion batteries typically last 3 to 4 years or 400 to 500 charge cycles. As you can see in this video, I'm using a battery from 2021. In my personal use as an event photographer, using photo and video, I average about 2 hours, depending on what the temperature is. There's no getting around shorter battery life due to faster sensors which draws more power. And don't forget about that 5.7 million dot EVF drawing power from the battery. Now, shorter battery life is the norm with Nikon, Sony, and Canon cameras. It's just inevitable. This next myth is the head scratcher. Number 4, not a professional grade camera. There are misconceptions that the Z6III is not suitable for professional work, but in reality, the Nikon Z6III is a versatile camera capable of handling professional photography and videography with features like 4K 60p video, high-resolution sensor, and robust build quality. If you're getting compensated for work in photography or video with the Nikon Z6III, then it's professional grade. Enough said. I have a Nikon Z9 that I use for higher-end portrait shoots. Anyone saying this camera isn't professional grade is reading too many Reddit posts. So stop reading those and look on the internet for yourself. Number 5, video capabilities are limited. Some believe the Nikon Z6III is not suitable for serious video work. The Nikon Z6III offers significant video features such as 10-bit external recording, improved autofocus in video modes, and high-quality 4K video recordings, making it a strong contender for hybrid shooters. If you want to go further than 4K recording, the Nikon Z6III offers 6K 60p in RAW or 6K 30p ProRes RAW. Nikon has improved in-log profiles. Nikon just released Red LUTs profiles. The compact Z6III also features an efficient heat dissipating design, consuming less power during video recordings and enabling 4K 60p recordings up to 125 minutes. This camera has 5 axes of in-body image stabilization. Most lenses are not image stabilized to control the weight and the cost of the lens. You can use the electronic vibration reduction for effective video recording. That's a bonus. There's also Focus Point VR2 that reduces blurring in focused areas, even when the subject is near the edge of the frame. So if you're still out on the Nikon Z6III, it has improved subject tracking. It has automatic subject detection and tracking of 9 subject types. Finally, the last myth. Myth number 6, the Nikon Z6III overheats easily. A concern with many mirrorless camera owners is overheating, especially during video recording. Reality, the Nikon Z6III has improved thermal management, thus reducing the chance of overheating even during extended video sessions. There was a major issue for me with the Nikon Z6II. I made a video for the Nikon Z6II owners on this issue. I had issues with overheating in the beginning, but I narrowed the issue down to using the wrong CF Express card. Make sure that you're using the right CF Express card. They help dissipate heat from the camera. Make sure you check the Nikon compatibility chart. And as a warning to all, next beware aftermarket batteries. I created a video on this too. You paid thousands of dollars for your camera. Why go cheap now? I used aftermarket batteries in my Nikon Z6II, and they weren't as reliable as the Nikon genuine batteries. Aftermarket batteries can get hotter faster. The new Nikon Z6III has heat shields and a flip-out screen, which helps with the heat radiating from the rear of the camera. Now you can buy a cooling fan, which helps with your camera outdoors, or when you want to do longer recording time, it just attaches to the rear like this. During this video, please remember these myths often are started from misunderstanding or comparison with other camera models. The Nikon Z6III is a well-rounded camera that caters to both enthusiasts and professionals alike. And as always, please subscribe and watch my other videos on Nikon cameras, and thank you for watching.